Today is October 8th. What do I do now? Now, in order for me to, after looking at the data, what I've noticed is that I'm still having issues with consistency because of the big losses that I'm suffering. And that happens on red days. So I need to figure out what my next strategy is. What is going to be my next step? I'm thinking that the setups and waveforms need to be understood. That's something that's on my plate. I need to understand those two things so that I can improve my odds. So that seems to correlate with the heavy losses that I'm incurring as well. And that heavy loss is going to be mitigated by the checklist that I've established. So that's going to take care of it. So now what I need to do is understand so that addresses the heavy losses that I have. I have a checklist, and I will use the checklist in order to mitigate it. Now moving forward, I need to work on two things right now. So I will work on a couple of things, and once I vet those things out, it'll give me a clarity of being able to recognize the setups and the behavior of the setup as it progresses. So the setup is the single point in space where I've analyzed everything, and then that the analysis tells me which direction it's going to go. And then once that has been established, then the second part is I have to understand what the behavior is. What is the behavior once I enter? So when I can make those two connections, then I can maximize the gain that I have. And I can somehow tie in that discovery that I have and figure out whether it's an A setup or B setup or C setup. Essentially, a couple of things that define whether it's an A setup or a B setup or C setup. It is a reliability of that pattern, and also the magnitude that is associated with this movement. So those two things define whether a trade setup is an A setup or a B setup. So the trade setup could be a reliable setup. However, if the movement is subdued and the trading range is smaller, then it can be defined as a B setup or a C setup, because the gain that essentially what that means is So essentially what a trading grade means is whether a trade has a reliability and what is the magnitude in which it moves in the direction that I'm assigning it to. And once those two things are calibrated or understood, then that defines whether the trade can be categorized as A, B, or C.